And then what I want to do next is I want to pivot into this Rings of Brighthearth build. I don't exactly know how hyped y'all are, but I'm pretty hyped, I guess. So this has kind of turned more into a Deserted Temple Rings combo than it's in a Magosi, but we still have one Magosi for infinite turns with Temple, Rings, and Magosi itself, and we're still pretty in on Urza's Cave. We're still playing 4 caves, so you can go Rings, sack Cave, copy Cave's ability, get Magosi, Deserted Temple, copy the turns. I playtested. So we I think we played 2 matches of this deck on stream on Tuesday, and I think we went 0-2. One big reason we went 0-2 is the lack of Torpor Orb against Black-White. I immediately out of the Torpor Orb and won a match because of it off stream. And so not we didn't update the sideboard enough when we jumped into it yesterday. I'm also playing the Bog in the side now. Something I felt like the deck really wanted was a card, something to do with your mana, a utility land that you can get off Urza's Cave or Mycospawn. And I thought about Lair of the Hydra, but Lair of the Hydra just gets chump blocked so much, and it's only good if you have the infinite mana combo with Overgrowth, Rings, Deserted Temple. And again, this is a big part of it, is infinite mana with Rings, over two enchantment lands and Temple. I ended up going for Waterlogged Grove because it's one, just to, it casts our spells, which is pretty important, and enters untapped, and you can also copy the draw ability with Rings, which I think is pretty cool. I'm not sold on the Explorers still, but I think that they're the best in slot. I think they're the best in slot still. But I think this has been the best version of this build so far. And we did 4-1 in a more normal Eldrazi build that was just playing 1 Deserted Temple, 1 Magosi, and Rings in the main, Rings in the side, and Urza's Cave. And that build seems fine. That build could be quietly really good. It's kind of hard to playtest any deck that had Consign to Memory in the board though, because that card is bugged. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about that build. But I've been liking this one a lot. Okay, let's mulligan this hand. All right, this hand looking pretty good. Maybe pretty good is a bit much. One thing I really like about Rumble plus Overgrowth is you can go turn 2 Rumble, and then you can go Overgrowth into Overgrowth. So I guess I don't like having to put back this Mycospawn because this could get me my Deserted Temple for infinite mana, but we could maybe find a Temple off of one of these other cards, and I think we need to have every other card in the hand here pretty bad. Gonna really try to get a basic land to not get my Overgrowths White Orchid Phantomed. How probable would it be to place Bag of Holding, Catcher Mouse plus Scourge Familiar in Modern? The Scourge Familiar thing seems really unrealistic. I have not actually spent the time to exactly understand what's going on with the Bag of Holding combo with Catcher Mouse. People have mentioned it a bunch. I keep making a mental note. We still have time, of course. Let me just reread Bag of Holding. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Okay, so this lets you loop with Magosi pretty easy. Or sorry, loop with Catcher Mouse pretty easy. Okay, so we definitely want a basic forest here. Putting back the fact that we have infinite mana. We have to put back 2 payoffs does kind of stink, but we still have Rumble and Explore and Waterlogged Grove, which can draw us 2 on our combo turn. So I guess I'm hoping that they flicker a Recruiter or something so that I can, or an Overlord so that I can get both Overgrowths down next turn and then combo off the following turn. There's a Witch Enchanter, which they may play as a land here. Although if they just go Witch Enchanter Flicker, that's also pretty bad for us. Reginald, 31 months, thank you, welcome back. They do choose the Witch Enchanter. They haven't played a land yet. They may play it as a land. Bad that they're not. They Fatal Push the token. All right, I wish I was on the play. It's my new wish here. My opponent says still on Magosi combo, I see, so it doesn't seem like we probably get that much value for conceding here. They grab a Solitude to their hand, which doesn't do much against us. Unfortunately, we have lost our spawn token to be able to K command. Not a lot going right this this game here. I think I'll concede to untap land. Because we know they have the Witch Enchanter. Okay, well I guess if the untap land is Witch Enchanter, we can wait a second. Okay, tap land. Concede to a Flicker Wisp. There we go. Great draw. If we were on the play, I think we were in okay shape, especially because we could have K commanded the Felia, it seems. Although I guess we wouldn't have drawn that card if we were on the play. Okay, one good thing about this build too is we're really not sideboarding much, which is great when Magic Online is so squished like this. So I'm going to be right back. Good, Reginald, thank you for 31, and Perger with the Twitch Prime. Appreciate ya. Okay, let's keep this hand. Thinking about naming blue on Utopia Sprawl for the combo. I think it will be okay to just name green with double Rumble in our hand here. And it's not super weak to Thoughtseize. Grabbing Overgrowth. Getting Breeding Pool. Whoops. So if I let this Magosi go to the yard, I'm unable to combo any longer. It doesn't seem like I really need anything else here besides the Deserted Temple, but I could get that off the Urza's Cave. Yeah, Flicker Wisp on the forest will be not great. I put a nose, I have the Kozilek's command, so I also don't think it makes a lot of sense for me to hold up the K command for the Felia. I think it's a little bit too easy to play around. Seems better to just play the Mycospawn. We could have played the Overgrowth first, but I think playing around Flicker Wisp makes a bit more sense to me. How do you feel about Dark Blast in your graveyard decks like 8 Titan? I don't think Dark Blast is good in Modern, so not that interested. They get a Recruiter of the Guard here. Opponent having Felia into Overlord both games is tough. Do they also have Solitude? I have to draw an untapped land for me to... Oh, they don't attack with Felia? That's such a punt, I think. Not one that I'm complaining about, I suppose. Alright, if we get Wisped, we get Wisped. I think I'm just going to go main phase, exile Felia, scry draw. I could also like try to find a Karn here. I could go Karn Torpor Orb maybe, but that's not even great against this plan. I think I should just scry draw and exile the Felia. We have a lot of mana. Let's just go ahead and just, you know, have a lot of mana and then have a lot of cards. Okay, if they concede here, they don't want to try to draw Flicker Wisp, I will not complain. So the combo is just using Magosi and copying extra turns. What's the main kill condition, chat? I mean, so what's very funny, like we've got Karn the Great Creator. We make infinite mana also and go Karn, Walking Ballista. But I always do think it's funny when we have an infinite mana combo and the question is like, wait, how do you win? Winning is not a problem with infinite mana. My Kingdom for a Utopia Sprawl here. Puts on the Mold of 6 on the play. Maybe they won't go Felia Overlord this time. Graveyards of Solitude. Couldn't Felia just blink your basic? No, Felia can't target lands. Seems like my opponent has Felia again. Do they have Felia into Overlord 3 games in a row? Max to 3 years. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Let's take a Karn. Bit out of loop. How does the combo work? So there's a couple different combos here. They all involve Deserted Temple. So you can either go get a Utopia Sprawl Overgrowth or double Overgrowth on a land, and then with Rings of Brighthearth Deserted Temple, you can copy the untapped land to untap Temple, untap the land that's tapping for 4 or more, and that makes infinite mana. There's also a combo with Deserted Temple, Magosi, Rings of Brighthearth, where you get to go tap Magosi, skip a turn, untap the Magosi with Deserted Temple, tap Magosi, take an extra turn, copy the extra turn with Rings of Brighthearth. This gives you an infinite turn combo. All 3 games. Lovely. They find Avid Interrupter or Solitude off of this Overlord. You know, what can you do here? Flip 18 months. Thank you. Welcome back. They find White Orchid Phantom, which is also pretty tough. So we didn't draw K command, which was seemingly pretty important for us here. They didn't grab the Solitude back, so that's something. We can play the Mycospawn and try to block the Felia for a turn, although I guess they can just get the Solitude back on attack step. Feels brutal. We have almost no removal. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, we do have the K commands at least, but it is, I do agree, this is particularly good against us. No bog with Mycospawn. I have the bog in the sideboard, and I didn't bring it in. We're also a Utopia Sprawl deck with like a lot of utility lands, so the bog is not super duper easy to fit in, but you could main deck it. I don't know if you would you just get the bog here? Maybe you would. So presumably my opponent's going to get back the Solitude. They're going to Phantom me again. And then I can go Karn. I can go Karn for Torpor Orb. Onion Flake with the 4 months. Thank you. Welcome back. So I'm going to be at 13 after this. And then, you know, Karn for Torpor Orb, I guess, is also not even that good against old Felia either, huh? Was it possible to exile their land? We didn't have 6 mana, no. We got this temple off of the Mycospawn. Somebody at the door. I guess who's getting it. I think we can find K command off the top. K command Felia. We might have a chance, although they could get the. Well, they don't have another Felia. Yeah, great, thank you. They almost just sent everything at me. They're thinking about this Felia now. Okay, so they're going to put the Karn to 1 loyalty. Interesting. Probably going to grab this Witch Enchanter. They could maybe grab Solitude just for like the 0 mana 3/2 though. They do choose Witch Enchanter. They have Avid Interrupter up, but thankfully the Interrupter is not going to have an ETB ability. On my turn at least. They can maybe play, you know, a non-interrupter card here. Do you ever cut Aether Vial and sideboarding with black white blink? I haven't really played basically any of the decks, so take my advice with a grain of salt, I suppose. But I would be pretty unlikely, I think, to board it out very often, if ever. So now they have 4 power flying in the air, so it doesn't seem like. Doesn't seem like I have outs. I can't even cast a K command. Alright, down a game. Did they have Solitude already? I don't think that we knew about. Maybe they did. Vial comes out against Grinding Breach every time. Maybe. It's just like the Vial is really... All of your best draws include Vial. Your deck has so much card advantage. Just having Recruiter and Flicker Wisp in your deck without Vial sucks. I probably am not... that into it. What happened to Orb? It got exiled temporarily to Fellium. Gonna keep this one. On the draw again. Definitely not a deck that loves to lose the die roll. Sorry for all the barking today. Okay. Tap land go. When you bring a Stone of Silence in, getting Violet's good. That makes sense, yeah. They see Dak Faden's take on Jeskai Energy. It's running Counterspell, Doorkeeper Thrall, Null Drifter, 2 Consignon. Apparently crushing Boris, Orzhov, and Breach. I didn't see it. I'll take a look if you want to link it. I'm not a big Doorkeeper Thrall fan in general, but Doorkeeper Thrall is like obviously maybe better than it's ever been. Which could also just mean like kind of playable for the first time, I guess. Okay, so we'll play this so that we can potentially K-Command next turn, although it seems like I guess we're always Karning next turn, so maybe that was a better reason to play Magosi here. Don't Creepy Throw, all these seems good against Breach. Yeah. I mean, if they just have an Unholy Heat, it's not. But if they don't have an Unholy Heat, it's good. Maybe not saying a lot with that statement, huh? Okay, so I can't quite Overgrowth before I play Karn. This resolving would make things pretty easy. Dave Ermis, 21 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Nice. So they're going to try to sink into the Stupor this. So it seems important for me to grab Damping Matrix, which not only stops Belcher, but it also stops Tamashi. Next turn I could play Overgrowth into Damping Matrix, and then I could try to maybe combo off with Rings the next turn. Was the backup deck number 2 Submit Curiosity Fleshraker in the Mox field? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think I've played a Simic Curiosity Fleshraker deck. I have a Naya Curiosity deck, which you may be confusing it with. Which is, Keen Sense still, but I'm playing Arbaz as extra Fleshrakers. Just James, 45 months. Any thoughts on playing Eldrazi Green Prison anytime soon? I do kind of think that build might be good at the moment. I don't know if I'll play it soon though. Combo activate Magosi two counters with Rings and start untapping with Temple. You don't need extra counters, but you don't need extra counters, but you copy the extra turn with Rings, and then after you untap the previously tapped Magosi. Hardcast Flare of Denial with 2 Archaeologists in play is very weird. I guess I'm going to Pithing Needle Goblin Charbelcher now. Although maybe I could just get Coating. Yeah, I think just getting Coating is I'm going to like a little bit more, because like I'm just plussing the card next turn. They're not going to be able to combo kill me. They're not going to be able to go sink and to do anything, especially if they get Coating on their upkeep. I can Stone Raid next turn and then play a Damping Matrix and a Rings maybe. Extra counters I thought doesn't work because the ability of Magosi remove all counters. Magosi returns itself to its hand. It doesn't remove all counters. But yeah, that isn't. And so sometimes with Nesting Ground, moving the counters around is a relevant part of the combo, but that isn't something we're doing here now. Because so my Overgrowth did get countered, so it seems like I'm just casting Damping Matrix, which does turn off my Coating, which is kind of funny. So maybe I should have got the Needle. So I don't think I have enough mana to combo off next turn because the Magosi enters tapped. I could untap it, copy the untap the Temple, but I don't think I have quite enough mana to do that and then combo. I do think I'm going to be wanting to bring in some sideboard cards here, since like Karn by itself is already like just kind of getting the job done. Is Cage Top Tamashi? Yes. No. No. So I think I'm going to bring in Stonebrain and Needle, and then still have the Damping Matrix off the Karn. Don't love Chalice. It's kind of okay. Let's bring in the Bog too. Let's cut the Yeah, I end up cutting the Soulless Jailer. I think I'm gonna cut the Grove for the land. Although maybe I actually just want to keep in the Grove and just cut all the Explorers. Just be up a land. Why does the deck look like that? It's just every single time Magic Online maintenance happens, it's just like this until they fix it again, like manually. I don't understand, but it's been like this for a while. What do you think about Kataki in the Breach meta? I don't think Kataki's very good against Breach. It's like, it's not bad against that deck, but I would rather play Stony Silence against it. Having one Kataki off of Recruiter of the Guard does seem fine. Okay, I'm gonna name blue off the Sprawl. Yeah, it's pretty obnoxious, but thankfully less obnoxious than the whole lag situation. Could it not be better to keep Needle on board since it's easier to play 2 hate pieces a turn than bring in Matrix instead? Maybe. It's just like Matrix is the more impactful card, so I think I would like to just have that and play more often. Okay, Dak, Fate, and Jeskai. So the Mycospawn lets me get Temple to make infinite mana. Let's just Overgrowth this turn. And then go for Stonebrain if this, gets countered. Could be a good metagame call. I don't actually know if this build is going to be good against Boros with all these Dullkeeper Thralls and Null Drifters and only 3 Rathalos guys. I'm kind of concerned about the Boros matchup, but it's probably okay. This lets me kick a Mycospawn next turn, which might be nice. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for Dullkeeper Thrall meta, but maybe I need to embrace it. He says he's 7-0 against Boros, Orzhov Breach. Like 7-0 against all of those decks? Seven and 0 in general. So I think we have to play Karn to play around Whir into a kill here. Get consigned again. So I guess they could still Whir into kill. Combined 7-0. Yeah, I mean, that's good. Eldrazi matchup obviously seems not very good. That's, is what it is. Well, counter. Into Belcher's pretty strong. We have some outs here. They play this untapped because their last card is another consign. Is that really the case? So I have to draw Pithing Needle off Waterlogged Grove here. One out. I don't have a Ghost Quarter. Not that Ghost Quarter would be able to stop them here. Okay, now 4 looks at the Needle. Don't find it. All right, let's take a look at their sideboard plan. Yeah, this build doesn't get to play like all of the main deck Mycospawn targets because we're just in on Deserted Temple Magosi so much. And we're playing Utopia Sprawl. All right, nothing too juicy from what I can tell. Game 3 on the play. Would kicking the Mycospawn have been better the turn Karn was played? It would have been better against our opponent's hand. When I cast the Karn, I was trying to play around them going Whir into Lotus on tap Belcher, which I think I would take that line again. Okay, so I like that this hand is a Magosi away from comboing. I'm going to keep. We have a lot of very good hits off the Rumble. Seems actually just fine for me to get Breeding Pool here because I may like Rumble into only Utopia Sprawl and cast that, or I may draw Stirrings next turn and want to cast that. It doesn't seem like my opponent. I mean, I guess they could have Harbinger. I didn't see Harbinger during sideboarding though. Double check. Don't see it in the game log. So spins a Lotus Bloom. And then thinks about which land to play, I guess. Am I in the Moto Aether Drift early access event? So I have not been doing the Aether Drift early access event on or like the standard early access events for the last few sets because they don't fire. Okay, I think drawing the K command, I'm going to Rumble here. There are just not enough people queued up to enter into the event. So I don't know if that's going to be the case this time too, but that's why I haven't played them the last few times. So I guess I would say I'm not exactly expecting to play in it this time either. And I haven't been invited to the arena one in a while. I used to be on the list, but after a long time of not participating, they took me off. I just want to play the rings this turn. All right, if you just have two consigns already, good for you. I'm gonna cast this now. Nice. What is this? They bounced my needle? Okay. I mean, it's a win for us. So they're saying they have a flare. Otherwise, I think they would have waited on bouncing the needle. Paid actor, or they just have a flare in their hand. I hate how there's still not Force of Negation and Timeless to counteract the combo decks, which are getting stronger with Chromox. That's kind of wild that there's still not Force. They milled over a flare. If they don't take it, they definitely have another one. Yeah, we can K command the Archaeologist into play the needle. That's my plan. I don't know the proper methodology for sharing deck with you for deck tech. We don't really do deck techs anymore, but I have a second, so I can take a look. Containment Priest Felia is a big nombo. Containment Priest Ephemerate's a big nombo. 17 creatures Wrath the Skies is not something I tend to like either. Like, I don't really think Felia Wrath the Skies is something I tend to like to do. Seems like your creature count is also kind of low to play Dour Port Mage. Your land count seems too low. Flanker is not a playable modern card, I think. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Okay, so scry draw, exile. You can Felia and permanently remove their stuff with a priest. Yeah, I know the synergy of Felia Containment Priest, but Felia Containment Priest is also awkward in games where you're not doing that, where you just have to like you can't flicker stuff for value if you have your own Containment Priest in play. Containment Priest Ephemerate is also a nombo. Like if you you need to think, oh, just can't play this card in my hand in my Ephemerate deck. I think it's a bit awkward. I also don't think it's a particularly powerful synergy for whatever that's worth. It's like a lot of work for exile target creature. Pretty easily disrupted. All right, so Goblin Charbelcher's Needled. I've got to be a little bit worried about Tamashi. Not much else we could have done this game. So they play this untapped and pass. It's kind of signifying a whir. So I can combo kill next turn with... Oh, sorry. I guess I'm a mana short of activating the cave. I don't know if I can combo kill, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure. Might as well attack with the fish. If I could have sacked the cave to get Magosi, then we could untapped in one. Maybe I should have just sacked the... I don't know if I had enough mana, but it was probably better to just sack the cave for Magosi this turn. I was linked to your Necrofrog videos and Ensnaring versions of my Dimir Necro at locals. Was curious why you cut March of Sorrow. I mean, I just don't think that card's super good at the moment. And it's like, you know, that card is kind of only good when you have Necro in play. And so when you compare that build to builds that are playing Profane Tutor to tutor up Necro, you're going to have Necro in a lot more consistently. And so March is better when you have that. March is better when you play the Coffers versions, which I don't exactly like. But I think of all of the different builds of Necro, like Necro's also better when you play like the Belcher version of Necro, where you can you just have more pitchables. I think of all the builds I've ever played it in, it's like by far the worst in that variant. So that's why I've chosen to exclude it. Okay, let's hope I don't die. But the good news is we should be able to untap and win the game through basically anything. They didn't have a sink into the stupor. We now beat sink without an untapped land. We do still lose to the gift to tap fish card. So, it's not 100% the case. I think that you shouldn't be playing March, but that was my reason for not including it. If you feel really confident that March is still a card you should play, then, go for it, of course. I think we can get back up Deserted Temple to combo again through some interaction. I love, this is when, for some reason, I'm just, so entranced by Urza's Cave, Rings of Brighthearth. I need to look a little bit closer at this interaction and see if I can come to an understanding if there's, something you could do with this more so like an amulet shell. It's built the weakest of my card in my version. I'm still playing Fel the Profane. I think I'd rather be pitching to Pump Frog. Yeah, I think when you play Frog, you don't want to play Profane Tutor. Just play Preordain instead. You have enough blue cards for Force. What's the first card from the new set you think I'll play on stream? It probably needs to be Ketramos, but I'm also really excited about repurposing Bay. I'm getting really pumped about building around that card. We'll see how things actually play out though. So my opponent is thinking if they combo kill me here, it's gonna be pretty sad. I do think Belcher's still pretty underplayed deck. Just I don't know, big fan. I don't know how good repurposing Bay is going to be still, but I have a feeling it's going to be solid just with freaking Mox Opal and potentially Enigma Jewel, and I'm just getting really excited for Rings of Brighthearth and for all the times I've said that you shouldn't try to Fiddle Bend into a Sundering Titan because Fiddle Bend is a 2/2, you just can't rely on it being alive. This is an artifact you can just actually rely on the card being alive. Okay, so we're going to skip our next turn. Uh-oh. Skip our next turn. Untap the Magosi with Deserted Temple. Just toolbox worse stuff. I think I want to go a bit bigger and be sacking 4s into 5s and 7s into 8s. And then maybe you're gonna have maybe some you're gonna have some War Prison elements, but okay. So I'm gonna try copying this. Imagine if they consign this. Oh wait, consign is sorry, only trigger. These are activated abilities, of course. This is something also I haven't really talked too much about, but it's also funny that we just get to kill them with the fish token. But when you compare this build to other versions of the deck we've played, having Utopia Sprawl is weirdly super, super, super important. Where sometimes you start to do this loop, but because you can't play an extra land because you have to replay Magosi every single time, you can't really advance your board state. You can advance your board state sometimes. But if you just play the card Utopia Sprawl, that isn't true. You'll just eventually find Utopia Sprawl, and then you'll eventually start to be able to advance your board state, which I think is pretty exciting. Only doing X equals 1, so that if my opponent has a counter spell, then it's a little bit less bad for me. This may be more clicks than Dark Pool. It's not. Dark Pool is like thousands of clicks. This is only hundreds. It's very cool that we found a somewhat viable infinite turn combo with Magosi. I'm still kind of nerding out about it a bit. How much mana does it take to combo? So it's 2 to tap Magosi, it's 2 to untap Magosi, and it's 2 to copy, so it's 6. And then if we're talking about the Rings of Brighthearth Deserted Temple combo, you need a land that's tapping for 4 more mana. There's no Waterlog Grove on Moxfield. Okay, I will fix that. Obviously, we've gone through a lot of different iterations. Do I want to cast Mycospawn here? I think I just kick the Mycospawn next turn. So why is Kiora bad or Devotion to Green Package? Devotion to Green Package? You just have built the deck completely differently. I guess I should have held this, I suppose. Devotion to Green Package? What are we talking about? You just that's just building the deck in a completely different way. So I think I'm going to go Overgrowth into Mycospawn for another Deserted Temple, and then this other Deserted Temple should give me enough mana to make infinite mana next turn off the rings, and then I can double copy the Waterlog Grove for maybe a payoff. And if that doesn't work, I can maybe just sack Urza's Cave to infinite turn the following turn. I don't know. Kiora is like a card that is like very fragile, just gets attacked. We have no creature in our deck that lets you draw a card off of it. I don't know why Kiora would be good. Could you play this deck in could you play this combo in like a mono green Devotion Shell instead? You could. To me this seems better. But you could build the deck in that way. So they go after Urza's Cave, which is the wrong one here. I heard that Nykthos can make more than 1 mana per untap. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, but to say that, the mono green Devotion package, like this is just a very different way to build the deck. Oh, I just drew rings. Nice. So we just went with the Karn now. Is there a reason we're running Mycospawn versus Sylvan Scrying? Yeah, the reason is Mycospawn is much, much stronger. It's not that complicated. Mycospawn is like 3 mana, put the land in play, have a 3/3 body. You count 3 mana because of Eldrazi Temple, and then it can also Stone Rain your opponent. Versus Sylvan Scrying just puts the freaking thing in your hand. So it's like with Eldrazi Temple, you kind of think of it as 1 more mana. It comes with a 3/3 body that puts the dang thing into play. Again, the reason we are playing it is that it's much stronger. I don't want to look at decks with new cards because I want to build the cards myself. Sorry about that. So opponent says, if you have a payoff, I'll concede. So I'm just going to show them good old Walking Ballista. All right, so up a game here against Black-White. We did lose to Black-White in round 1. Running it back here. Is this infinite mana? Yes, this is infinite mana. I'll see this too. Like, did you watch that game? This is also, if you watched that game, you probably got your answer about Mycospawn versus Sylvan Scrying. Yeah, the zoom is pretty annoying. This is a good day to play this deck though. I don't know how like this for like the last 2 months, every maintenance the zoom bug happens, and then they fix the zoom bug manually. I don't like how is this not part of the the maintenance process is to check for the zoom bug. How many starts your engine decks do you have ready to go in DFT releases? Too many to count. Too many speed decks. Okay, let's keep this. Okay, Graveyard's an Overlord. It's possible we could play K Command on turn 1, so we could draw a second Temple and K Command Ophelia next turn, but I think just better to Surveil than to play to that. Okay, so they're impending another Overlord. They get a Solitude. Is Explore good? It's the only flex spot. Explore is good. I don't know if it is the best card in that spot. I would certainly be open to hearing other suggestions. I do think it's better than Sylvan Scrying if we're going to compare it to that card specifically. Maybe we should have held this, huh? Okay, so if I Graveyard the Magosi, I'm not capable of infinite turn comboing. Infinite turn comboing post board isn't the easiest thing. And I could put this Urza's Cave into my hand so I could cast Command if my opponent were to Phantom me, but I think I would just play Karn next turn if that happens. So we'll grab the Magosi. Do I have plans to revisit Enigma Jewel with Pit Automaton coming in Aether Drift? Well, I was going to play Enigma Jewel with Repurposing Bay. I don't know if Pit Automaton is a card that's on my radar. Although I always hard to remember all the names. Automaton. It's just, sorry, it's not letting me copy the message. Okay, so they return to Witch Enchanter. Tap, add colorless, spin this only to activate abilities. Yeah, I don't think I love this card so much. Wait, are you only playing one Magosi in your Malevolent Rumble deck? Yeah, we're just not that in Magosi. And you could also put it into your hand off Rumble if you if you want. Magosi is a pretty tough land to play a lot of copies of. Alright, seems like we should K Command this turn. Is it ever worth putting Conduit or Crucible Worlds in the card boards you can combo? I don't think it's that worth it, no. I think it's kind of a niche situation where, again, you could still just put it into your hand, or you could just infinite mana combo instead. Just not that important. Alright, Thoughtseize is not the best against 2-pair. Graveyard Skyclave, Emperor of Bones here. They return the Emperor. Not sure about the scries here, because these could just kind of be anything. I was thinking that I would be going Karn for Torpor Orb, and then I would be going maybe Karn for Bridge after that, and see if that's fast enough. And so, like, the Stirrings of the Rumble don't exactly help with this plan, but they do kind of just seem enough generically better than other draws that it seems fine to go for here. My opponent also probably has Ophelia, which does kind of stink here. So I guess I'm dead to Emperor, back Overlord, exile the spawn token. They target Skyclave Apparition instead, so... Ha ha ha, paid actor, paid actor. So it seems like they're gonna go exile my orb and then put this into play, but it doesn't even really make any sense. No, they exile the spawn anyways. Probably can't win anyways this game. Could maybe if we found another K command, but don't even know if that... I mean, yeah, I could block these 4, I suppose. Maybe exile the Wisp too. So let's look for that. Didn't find it game 3 anyways. All right, so let's see if we can get our revenge on black white. Did we win the die roll? This matchup might just be super play draw dependent. Yeah, we won the die roll this time. Losing it round 1 was just like the difference between winning and losing. It felt gonna have to mulligan this. Gonna have to mulligan that. So we're on 5. Did my opponent mulligan? They kept 7. So this is bad news. So this is bad news. I'm gonna put back a Mycospawn. I really want to keep these cards because this is just infinite mana combo. Don't know how viable that is. Seems like I just put back the Mycospawn and hope we can maybe find Deserted Temple naturally. Huh. Alright, I think this is enough better than the average draw to keep it. This is going to allow me to try to go Stirrings into an untapped green source, Sprawl into... Oh, another land would be really nice to go Overgrowth into Rings, into Mycospawn for Temple, but on a Mold 5 we just can't be too picky. So best draw would be Deserted Temple, which would let me go Overgrowth Rings into search up Magosi instead of the Temple. How many untapped green? 12 or 13, I think. Mold 5 getting Thoughtseize doesn't feel great. They do take the Mycospawn. It's hard to feel too sore about that. Pretty cooked against a Flicker Wisp. Mold 5 double Thoughtseize feels bad. Let's top deck out of it. If we find Karn, we can go Karn Orb. They have the Wisp. GG. Okay, let's do one more. Very tough Mold 5 there. Well, keeping this. Do you ever hold the land or the bait third Thoughtseize? It's third Thoughtseize is really unlikely, and when you're on a Mold 5, you just need things to start going right. So I don't think you can afford to play around stuff there. Focus has been mono staple. Pulls out Pew Pew, always has been. I don't know if I'd say always has been. In fact, I would say Flicker Wisp is definitely better now than it ever has been. I don't think we've ever seen a modern format where Flicker Wisp has been better. I already have both of these. I guess I'm going to take second Mycospawn. What deck has Wisp? There's a black-white Aethervial mid-range deck that is one of the top 5 decks in the modern format. Looks like we're up against green-white Ritual. Another deck that's very weak to Thraben and Charm. So I'm 1 mana short of getting Deserted Temple and casting the second spawn. I think I'm still getting a temple. Yeah, also Flickerwisp in this build, or at least my latest version of this build. Pretty excited for this deck to get the Gear Hulk update, although I'm getting a little burned out on the green-white deck in general. I do think tomorrow there's a good chance I play the Aetherworks Marvel deck in the challenge. We'll see. I'm gonna try to do a league with it off stream tonight. I don't want to count my chickens yet. Okay. Especially if they're going to do this. But it does seem like I have enough mana to put a Torpor Orb into play, which Karn for Torpor Orb seems to me, for me at least, becoming a big part of my plans in Modern. Can anyone remind me why Grief and Fury got banned? Because if it is the reason to remember, then Solitude should get the same treatment. No, Solitude gets 3 triggers, not 2. Solitude is fine. Solitude has waxed and waned in how playable it is over the over its lifespan, and it is sometimes it's been fine, sometimes it's been straight up bad. Let's not entertain a Solitude ban at the moment. Grief and Fury got banned because together it allowed you to play the Scam deck and also people kept memeing on me like when Scam was like still a deck people played after the ban for a little bit, and after I said it was going to be gone forever. Like anytime anyone ever played the deck, people were like, "See, Spike, it's still it's still a deck in Modern," but it did die, like I said it would. Anyways, hold on, 3. Yeah, I guess I make a spawn so that I can go rings into. Oh, I can't copy the abilities. So we'll scry draw. I'm getting sidetracked. But like this like Rakdos Scam is a deck where you got to play both Grief and Fury with the ability to scam both of them. This was certainly too powerful of a deck to stay around together. I think they should have banned Grief instead of Fury when they did. In fact, I wonder how MH3 would have been if that had been the case. Like Fury would have been, all people always say Fury's like would be so good in the energy deck. I disagree with that. But anyways, they banned Fury instead of Grief, which I think was a mistake at the time. And then Grief was like very fine in Modern after that, in my opinion. Not a very fun card to play against, but not like one of the more powerful things to be doing even. And then they just kind of vibe based banned it for like it was just one of the weirdest bans ever. It was just like not a very competitive card in the format when they banned it. Banning Fury first was weird. Yeah, then banning Fury first was like absolutely like a Twitter-based ban where you just have all of the people who are playing who want to play their like humans decks, their merfolk decks, and their elves decks, and like this kind of stuff. They felt like Fury was the card keeping them in check, but like this is obviously not the case. And I was making this argument a lot at the time that it's not Fury that keeps these decks in check. It's better creature decks existing that keeps the deck in check. Because if it doesn't matter if Fury is legal or not, like Yawgmoth and Hardened Scales, at the time, Hardened Scales, there was one other like big creature deck, maybe Murktide. I don't know if you count Murktide, but just like there are going to be better creature decks in the format still. And if there's a better creature deck than the creature deck you want to play, that is going to be what keeps it in check more so than Fury existing. And I think that was true at the time, and it was true after also. Hammer might be the other one I'm thinking of. Again, this was a while ago at this point. I think it was less of Fury keeping decks in check, and the more they wanted to hit 2 decks at the same time, Scam and Rhinos. Yeah, I think that this was true too, but also at the time, like Rhinos had been like mostly cutting Fury from the deck, so I think there was like a lot of flawed logic with the ban decision. I miss when Rakdos was in the format. I mean, you have Mardu decks now. How's the lawsuit? Yeah, lawsuit ended thanks to Market Back Walker. Totally forgot what matchup we were playing. Squee with the 63 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Bro, it was Beans plus Scam that got Fury banned. Well, I think wait, can I beat a Gaddock Teague? I guess I could take infinite turns. To say that it was Beans that got Fury banned, I think is kind of silly because like Beans was banned, right? It doesn't really make sense to say that like they banned Beans at the same time that they banned Fury, I believe, and it doesn't like if Beans is banned, you go back to Fury not having Beans. Pretty good Overgrowth. Two Explorers. Yeah, it was definitely the Scam deck. They named both Scam and the new Beans deck in the announcement. Well, if they did that, isn't that still silly, right? Is like if they named it or not, is it not just true that it doesn't make sense to name it because just gonna jump the Teague. It like does it make sense to name it in the announcement when they also banned Beans? Like if Beans isn't legal, like you don't have to think about that synergy anymore. Okay, I'm looking for a rings here. There we go. So we can take infinite turns next turn. Winning through this board might not be possible because of the Teague. But we'll see. Well, they did. I'm almost positive it wasn't Beans. Yeah, and my point is it doesn't matter if they said it in the ban announcement. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. I don't think it matters if they said that that's why they did or didn't do. If Beans is banned, the synergy Fury has with Beans should be irrelevant for its banning. Wow, no attacks. Drawing all 4 Mycospawns eventually kills them. Not if they don't attack with the Teague. Okay. This is a funny board state here. You know, I do get a lot of people saying I look like Luca, which is funny. But yeah, I don't know. My Wimby jersey came in today, actually. Okay, so we're taking infinite turns. We're not gonna. This is kind of what I've been mentioning too. Like when you're doing the loop and it's mana neutral, you can't play your lands because you have to replay your Magosi. This is not as big a problem in this deck that has access to Utopia Sprawl to eventually get out of this. But are we cooked here? Because like I can't cast K command. All I can do is cast more Karns. Yeah, I think this is just infinite turns and we lose. And if my opponent making this play of leaving the Teague back is why we're losing, because otherwise we would have been able to still get through with the Mycospawns, I think. No, I can't cast Karn because of the Teague. Can you cast Ballista? I don't have a Ballista in my deck right now, but it does seem like I should like bring in like a Ballista or a Cityscape Leveler. One problem with bringing in the Ballista is that if I make infinite mana and I cast Karn, I can't win the game immediately, but I could copy Karn's ability and like get like Cityscape Leveler plus something, which is kind of nice. I think I'm just going to bring in the Leveler. The Leveler seems like this will just solve that problem for game 3. No, Ballista can be cast with Teague, I believe, right? So it says, Teague says non-creature spells with mana value 4 or less can't be cast. Non-creature spells with X in their cast can't be cast, but Ballista being a creature spell isn't affected by either of those. If Metamorph is in the deck post-board, can copy Apparition to remove Teague. I mean, yeah, but only if Apparition is in play, right? So I think we just bring in the Leveler. Why is the deck so zoomed in? It's very funny. Like, the Daybreak team is really trying to going through it, but every maintenance for the last 2 months, part of the maintenance cycle is a bug happens. This has happened again now that now that consigned to memory seems to be bugged, although we haven't tested this for ourselves. The bug happens and then cards are really zoomed in for like 3 days. And what can we do? What can we do so every single Magic Online maintenance we don't have this cycle of a bug happens and the cards are really zoomed in, like every single time. The Magic Online is worse off for having maintenance. And this is not great. So we're pretty close to winning the game here, although this Haywire Mite is pretty annoying. So a land would be good. Green one especially. I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to not play the rings out here. Yeah, I still blame the Wall of Roots bug. Okay, so this isn't infinite mana, but this lets me Karn for Torp Orb and cast it this turn. So same targets, untap. Tap for 3, untap. Karn. We could copy the Karn ability here, but I think just getting the orb down is going to be better for me. Because now I can go Mycospawn into Magosi. I don't think I'm gonna have enough mana to combo off here or anything. Okay, they also do have an Ephemerate here to stop me from just having Magosi rings in play immediately. Could you have Utopia Sprawl, untap land, and then played rings? I don't think so. Because I had to tap the Sprawl, but maybe I'm misunderstanding. Maybe I could have. Tap here, tap here. Oh, you know what? I think you use the floating blue to untap. Yeah, I think we could have done that. Okay, that would have been better. Yeah, 2 turns ago. Just good to be keeping on top of stuff like that, of course. So I have 2 Deserted Temples in the left in the deck, 1 Magosi. They've got 3 cards in their hand. We've already dealt with 1 Haywire Mite as far as answers to these cards go. They can't Ranger Captain for a Mite either, which is nice. They do have Thraben Charm for one of my 2 copies of Utopia Sprawl. All right, so let's cast Hedge Maze and see if we want to cast Karn or if we want to cast Mycospawn. All right. Nothing we really want to draw, so let's go ahead and get another Deserted Temple. This means that a top deck Overgrowth will be a win, because we could just go infinite mana into Karn Ballista. They find a Birthing Ritual, and then they cast Collector Oof, a card that doesn't do much against me. I have 6 mana next turn, so I'm 1 mana short of going Karn into Bridge. Nalier, the Twitch Prime, thank you, welcome back. Karn into Bridge beats Haywire Mite, which is nice. Although I guess the Oof also beats the Haywire Mite. The Oof is probably better for me than for them. Although they find the Teague. They find the Teague. And I don't have another Surveil land, but I can copy the Windswept Heath ability. Oof does turn off Ballista. I mean, this is not that important, I think, overall, right? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I guess because we don't have the Cityscape level. Like, we would be able to go... okay, they sack their Oof... and they get their Haywire Mite in play. Teague is a pain. Can we kill that thing? We boarded in a Cityscape Leveler for it. We can hardcast it if we draw it. 5, 6, 7. So we would be 1 mana short if we were to draw it there. I think I grabbed the Temple. Not feeling great. They keep a card on top. More bad news. I'm out of basics. So the good news is I can Ancient Stirrings into Leveler. Turns out we can't beat a Teague. Yeah, Teague pretty good against us. Not the most common card. How many times have you whiffed on a Rumble? I mean, as a complete whiff, I don't think it's ever happened for me. I saw someone, it happened to someone else the other day. Okay, let me pivot over real quick. So let's do a poll. So either we can do a League of Aetherworks Marvel on stream to